Do any favours to those who campaign for summer football. Our undercover man was Jock Brown.
Kilmarnock manager Alec Totten makes 3 changes from the side, which lost to Hearts last week. Out go Jim Loughlin, Derek Anderson and Billy Finlay to make way for Ray Montgomery, John Henry and Colin McKee. He reverts to a 4-4-2 formation with a very young side augmented by the veteran defender Ray Montgomery. At 35, the only player in the side over 30. Signed for a nominal fee from Dumbarton 8 years ago, he's proved to be a marvellous servant to the club. And after their European success in midweek, Celtic manager Tommy Burns names the same starting 11 apart from Morten Vikhorst, who's unfit. His replacement is Brian O'Neill, with Paulo Di Canio again starting on the bench. The midweek hero was the Portuguese international Jorge Cadette from Sporting Lisbon, who took his goal tally for the season to 3 in 5 matches. He appeared as substitute 5 times last season and started only 2 matches, but still scored 5 times. He'll be a big goal threat to Kilmarnock. And the man in charge is from Edinburgh, Mr. Ian Taylor. The familiar Celtic huddle again employed. Dreadful overhead conditions, the rain starting to come down very heavily in the last 20 minutes or so. Underfoot, Rugby Park, its usual immaculate surface. Celtic in their new chain strip there, the luminous green and black. No handball given against John Henry or against the challenging player Thom Boyd. Here's Brian McLaughlin for Celtic. Head is Cadette. Here's Boyd again. It's intercepted well by McPherson. McKee starting the match on the right-hand side for Kilmarnock. He's very quick indeed. Celtic win it back. Here's McNamara with Peter Grant trying a long ball for O'Neill. It was a good pass. Important challenge made by McPherson. That's McLaughlin. Good ball in right across the 6-yard line. And George Cadette looks across to Brian McLaughlin to explain where he would have preferred the ball. The hold up allowed here. The knock taken by Gus McPherson, challenging Brian O'Neill for the high ball. Damaged his shoulder, a collarbone area. Earlier figure on there, Hugh Allen, the Kilmarnock and Scotland physio. Kilmarnock manager Alec Totten has visited the capital city of Edinburgh twice in league business with a win and a defeat. Very important match here against Celtic. Celtic manager Craig Brown looking on. He has Boyd and McKinlay of Celtic with Jackie McNamara, the new man in the squad, to examine here. Woodward measuring the pass there for McPherson. Got the break of the ball there, I think. That's for McKee. Boyd too. Both very quick players. Boyd wins the race. That's Henry. That's good ball inside. Couldn't be reached by McIntyre. That's Mitchell. Excellent handling there by Marshall. Well, remember, the ball really is like a bar of soap on this wet surface, and this really was excellent play. Henry doing well initially. Mitchell strikes the ball so well in that position. Paul Wright looking for the knockdown. McLaughlin did well. This is Thom. Out of reach for Grant. Right to Mitchell. Caught late by McNamara. No foul given as Hughes challenged McIntyre. Here's McNamara. Now McLaughlin. Fine effort by McLaughlin. Very close indeed. Brian McLaughlin trying to get his first goal of the season. The tackles were flying in here. Look at this one coming late on McNamara. That troubled the referee. He allowed the advantage. McLaughlin could scarcely have been closer. Well, the referee, to his credit, is making an allowance for the conditions, I think, when these tackles come in. They're sliding in, skidding all over the place. At the same time, some of the players are getting a little bit overwrought. Persson The run was made willingly as ever by Henry from midfield. He's turned Boyd well. Henry again. In goes Mitchell, marked well by Thom. Great effort by Riley. Through the legs of Marshall. 1-0 Kilmarnock. Well, Gordon Marshall completely beaten by this. Some fine play by Kilmarnock in the build-up. They've been pressing relentlessly whenever they could. The 27th minute of the game as McPherson played this for. Look at the part played by John Henry. This is top-class play by a fine player. The chip to the far post, met well by Thom. The dipping volley there from Riley. Treacherous for the goalkeeper, especially in these conditions. But undoubtedly, an error by the keeper. He will know that all right. But what good play it was by Henry on the right-hand side to engineer the opportunity to play over that cross to the far post. Credit to Thom for being there to head clear, but it was an excellent volley by Riley first time. Well, you wouldn't know from that expression. Alec Todd was delighted. The angle ball to the far post, touched away by Hughes. Come on up now in full cry. These are difficult moments now for Celtic, there's no doubt about that. Here's Colin McKee getting a signal from the far side where Kilmarnock appeared to have overloaded, and Hughes did well. Scrambled away by McKinley, helped out again by Brian O'Neill. Celtic struggling badly here to cope as Kilmarnock come forward in droves. Well, it shouldn't have caused quite so much trouble, this corner kick. Marshall elected to stay on his line. Boyd's pass reaches Thom. McNamara goes in the overlap. Good work, heading it away. Here's McKinley. Pressure remains in the Kilmarnock defence. McKinley's made the byline. Queuing up in the middle. The header down was by Cadette. He leaped very high for that. Did well to direct the header downwards. McKinley's cross. Cadette and that ruck of players doing well. Nawara's given it away. Straight to McIntyre. Talented left foot. Mitchell's pass. Henry in the box again. McIntyre's cross, there's McKee. What a chance! He holds his head, he knows chances don't come much better than that against Celtic. And where was the defence? Where was the cover there for McKee? Cover there on the left-hand side, provided by Talon. This is Thom again. Cadette, O'Neill, Thom, and Hooijdonk. Well, it really hasn't been this afternoon so far. It was a terrific move from Celtic. It deserved much better than that. The passing was excellent. That one was a beautiful ball to Van Hooijdonk. He caught his studs at the turf. Frustration for the Dutchman. Well, you must give great credit to Kilmarnock, the way in which they've gone about their business. Have been brisk right from the start. They haven't allowed Celtic to settle into too many of these splendid passing movements. There's McKee spilling away from Marshall. Not surprisingly, so much power in the shot. The wet, slippery ball. Space here for Henry. Oh, this is Kilmarnock at their best. Coming forward rapidly from midfield. Henry, the main supporting attacking midfielder. Riley, the man who sits in the centre, although he's the man who's scored the only goal of the match so far. O'Neill to Cadette. Blows onto the ball and gives it away. McIntyre's pass in the last of the first half, which is warmly applauded by Kilmarnock supporters. Mark Riley's last goal for Kilmarnock was the 18th of February 1995. 18 months ago in a cup tie against East Fife. But he scored one this afternoon, which he will remember for a very long time. The headed clearance by Andreas Thom, met on the volley by Riley, straight through the legs of Gordon Marshall, and that's what separates the teams at half-time. It's Kilmarnock 1, Celtic 0. the feeling is a very big second half for Celtic, looking to give real confidence to their supporters at the start of the season. They certainly qualified in Europe, but they can't afford to drop many points here in the context of challenging Rangers, and they're in serious danger on the evidence of that first half when Kilmarnock played so well. Appear to have a vital edge in key areas. Ryan O'Neill certainly having a battle in the middle of the field with Peter Grant against John Henry and Mark Riley, but the Kilmarnock players came out of that very well indeed. And Hooijdonk to Grant. He's robbed neatly by Henry, who's had a fine match for Kilmarnock. Wright's return pass just out of reach for him, and there was an offside flag up on the far side as Hughes made the interception. The free kick's taken already. McKinley to Van Hooijdonk, back to McLaughlin. Cadette trying to beat Lekovic in the near post, the big keeper, making certain that wasn't possible. Andreas Thom having a debate with the assistant referee on this side. Well, there appeared to be something happening off the ball. Thom complaining bitterly to the assistant referee on this side. Appeared to clash with Gary Talon. But the layoff there from Van Hooijdonk was a good one. McLaughlin took a good option there. Here was Cadette checking inside McPherson. Van Hooijdonk holding off Montgomery. Here's Thom. Cross goes Whitworth. He got a touch on the ball. That was crucial. Kilmarnock irate about the decision not going against Van Hooijdonk in the clash with Montgomery. Montgomery still giving the referee some stick. Thom leaning there on Whitworth. Clash of bodies and no question of penalty. Careless one by McIntyre, but Mitchell fastens on the loose ball. Here's Paul Wright, showing too much of that to O'Neill. Boyd now to McNamara. Boyd is supporting this attack. Good running by Van Hooijdonk. The back heel that attempted for Boyd. Well, the idea was good. The execution was wrong. Mitchell taking a pass from Wright. Well, you can see him there deliberately trying to chip the goalkeeper. Very difficult in these wet conditions. That was clearly the intention. So the match now raging from end to end. Here's Boyd still well forward for Celtic. O'Neill has McLaughlin to his left-hand side. Struggling there against Henry. Off goes McKee. Running straight into Grant. Now McLaughlin. Talon doing a good covering job again. Careless one by Henry, well read by McKinley. In goes Thom. Good downward header, a lot of power in that. The goalkeeper in just the right place though for Kilmarnock. John Henry will be relieved about that. It's his error which gave McKinley possession. Mitchell giving that inside to O'Neill. This is Cadette. Van Hooijdonk leaves it to Thom. McNamara's angled cross. That's Van Hooijdonk at his best. He's so good at that. And Lekovic did so well again. That could so easily have slipped beyond him. But Van Hooijdonk is expert at this. Coming across his marker like that for the glancing header. Breaking into space now. There's Henry with a chance for the second. Hangs his head in despair. It was brilliant play this, a superb cross. And look at the chest control here. That was excellent. The rest looked easier. And Henry has pulled it wide. Well, come on and don't win this match. John Henry will have a sleepless night. O'Neill. Canio is coming on to replace Brian McLaughlin. Well, the Italian star comes on. McLaughlin had a very bright start to the match, but then rather lost his way. So a switch in tactics here. Di Canio comes to the right, Thom moves to the left. Hughes wins the battle this time in the air with McIntyre. Cadette has the pace here, McPherson trying to meet him. That's a great finish by Cadette, but no, it's wide of the target. Well, the chip was just what was required. And Hooijdonk linking well with him again. His pace is impressive in this position. And Lekovic had no answer to that. So that cancels out the miss by Henry. O'Neill did well to find Di Canio. Cadette. Di Canio again. Oh, that's great play by Di Canio. He's equalised. Well, that was brilliant. And you can see the effect that's had on the Celtic players and their supporters. What a goal it is. Cadette's pass to Di Canio. Look at the patience, the confidence, the timing, the footwork, and the accuracy. So Di Canio gets his first goal for Celtic. It really was expertly taken. Lekovic wrong-footed in the end. Well, the goal was a long time coming, fully an hour, but Celtic supporters now believe this is a match which can be won. Relief for Tommy Barnes, but he won't be happy with a draw. McNamara's back header means a corner kick to Kilmarnock. Gave Marshall no chance at all there. Whitworth going to the goal line there. Right in front of Gordon Marshall. But in there by McKee. Hughes with a clearing header. Cadette races after the ball. And that's a very good bit of play by Cadette. Doing Gary Talon a favour, I think. Here's Thom for Celtic second. Brilliant play again from Celtic. George Cadette doing the creative work. Thom with a finish. Now Gary Talon caught him. He'd have been in serious trouble with the referee. But Cadette rode that tackle, measured the pass for Thom, and there was then no doubt at all about the finish. Well, Celtic now showing their attacking menace in full cry here. Look at Di Canio inside, but the measured pass finds Thom in so much space, and Lekovic was helpless. On Hooijdonk's layoff, here's Talon. He certainly tried to hold Cadette regardless there, but couldn't manage it. The balance of the Portuguese striker was so impressive. On the way by Boyd, safely. This is Ryder. Talon trying to get the better of McNamara. It reaches McIntyre. He's hoping for a corner. He's got one now. McNamara could work his way out of trouble there. Well, last time Kilmarnock got a corner kick, Celtic scored. They're very keen to avoid that. He flights it in. There's Hughes, who headed clear the last time. And here we go again with Di Canio. Thom supporting. Van Hooijdonk's coming in the back. Cadette well up for upfield. Over to the far side is McKinley. Well, Celtic's counter-attacking is ferocious. Di Canio this time leading the charge. Inside for Thom. This time trying to become a goal maker rather than goal taker. McKinley trying to bring it down, but under pressure from Whitworth, shoots over. Time Di Canio breaking. Battle there with Whitworth. Cadette wins that fight. Could this be another? Well, he made the 2 goals for Celtic. Finally on the score sheet himself. But look at the strength here. Quite apart from the skill and the control. Battling his way past Whitworth for the shot at goal. Van Hooijdonk under pressure from Montgomery. Finds Di Canio. Good disguised move inside. That's Van Hooijdonk. He's hit the post. Touched on there by Lekovic. It was a save, all right. Good play by Van Hooijdonk altogether in the build-up too. Well, Van Hooijdonk there, working his way past Montgomery, finding Di Canio as he came inside. Van Hooijdonk took over, and that was rifling into the far corner. Well, Fergus McCann, I'm sure, relieved to see his huge investments paying off. Cadette and Di Canio in particular at the moment. And Andreas Thom there. Free kick it is outside the box. Until the referee looks very calm as he gives this free kick outside the box to Celtic. McKinley, Van Hooijdonk being asked to go into the box. Thom also dropping back to the edge of the area. McKinley will take this. The 10-yard rule scarcely obeyed, surely. Up goes Hughes. Oh, the chance fell initially there to Brian O'Neill. Well, O'Neill should do a bit of that because it was set up by the header from Hughes back into Brian O'Neill, who swiped and missed. And then it was thumped away by Thom. And Hooijdonk did well again, so too did Whitworth for Kilmarnock. McNamara and O'Neill together. Di Canio picks out McNamara. Well, that's great play by McNamara. Back it comes to Di Canio. Well, they certainly show their feelings, the Italians. Temperament apparent for all to see. Was brilliant play here by McNamara, and Di Canio's shot certainly had the keeper beaten. Now Whitworth pushing forward. Kilmarnock showing patience, trying to find an opening. McPherson against Di Canio. Tried to nutmeg him there, didn't make it, but he won the throw. Whitworth well forward. Well, if possession is lost by Kilmarnock, it could be exposed. But they're still pushing forward. Here's Whitworth in the outside right position. Holt lets that run. Grant now to Di Canio. Celtic now the counter, and they could punish Kilmarnock here. Here's Cadette. This could sell it all. 3-1 to Celtic. George Cadette, the maker of the opening 2 goals, the scorer of the third. And that was always the risk Kilmarnock took, sending so many men forward. Di Canio, the perfect pass for Cadette. The rifled left foot shot, and this time Lekovic couldn't make the save. But the arrival of Di Canio has sparked Celtic to life. There he goes with a pass. Cadette now with a deadly finish. And it looks comfortable in the end for Celtic. So 3-1 to Celtic. That doesn't really do justice to Kilmarnock for their contribution to what has been a thoroughly entertaining match. Substitution being made by Celtic. They're taking off Pierre Van Hooijdonk. Player coming on, I think, is young Mark Anthony. Getting a taste of first team action. Well, not very much of that here. Certainly won't have time to work up a sweat. In fact, he hasn't had a touch as the final whistle goes. Celtic running out. Impressive winners in the end after a very tough opening hour. And remember, John Henry missed a sitter at 1-0 to Kilmarnock, but then Andreas Thom, Paulo Di Canio and Georges Cadette took the game by the scruff of the neck. The arrival of Di Canio appeared to make all the difference to Celtic. They've won a match which frequently they might have drawn in the past. Georges Cadette was the maker of the first two for Di Canio and Thom, the scorer of the third, and that's why these Celtic supporters are so delirious. It's been an excellent closing half hour, and Celtic have won the 3 points. Kilmarnock 1, Celtic 3.
I thought for now that Kilmarnock were a better side. We took the game to Celtic, we scored the goal, Paul had a chance, a bit unlucky. Same with Colin McKee with a header in the first half, and after the break, Johnny had a tremendous chance, and if he'd have scored then it would have been 2-0 for Kilmarnock, and I feel that was a turning point actually. Celtic, because of their quality, they paid millions of pounds for players, because of their quality they came through in the end, but for an hour, Kilmarnock were far the better side and created more chances than Celtic.
They were all over us first half, causing us all sorts of problems. But the attitude changed half time. We got a chance to talk to them. That wasn't a case of ranting and raving at them. Basically just putting a few pointers to them. And I think, to be fair, the second half they've raised the tempo dramatically and started playing in a fashion that we expect and, more importantly, our supporters expect.
Was that the main change, rather than a tactical alteration, just a question of a lift of pace?
Well, I think the alteration with Paulo going on certainly helped. I think that gives you somebody in your team that will prepare to take the ball and beat defenders. And we've not got too many players like that in our team. So when you've got somebody like that, you want to make the best of it. And I think he was, without doubt, the biggest difference. He made some remarkable runs and made up chances, scored a great goal, done a lot of very good things. And this is a very difficult place to come at the best of times. So we're delighted about that, because he took the responsibility, and I